What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Sunny Side of Vaping. Today we are talking about the Aspire Atlantis, the almighty Atlantis that everyone and their mother is talking about. This thing's been all over Facebook, all over Twitter, all over Instagram. Everyone's raving about this bad boy. I'm going to give you my opinion on it. Again, please remember it is only my opinion on the tank. But before we dive up close, before we talk about it, I want to mention something that we're coming up on this channel. Courtesy of us at the Vapor Shop and all our great vendors, we are giving away a huge prize. We are doing a huge giveaway via this channel. So if you're watching this, then you're probably already subscribed. If you're not subscribed yet, right now would be the best time to do that, because one lucky person, one lucky subscriber, I should say, is going to win a very big overall prize package for Christmas here. I'll have more details to come on it, but just know starting December 8th, we are starting 12 days of Vapemas, and it's going to be huge. Someone's going to win a lot of things. The Vapor Shop is giving stuff away. Our great vendors are donating stuff to give away. It's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that. More details to come. But right now, let's just go straight up close and personal with this thing. It won't take too long to up close. It's a quick breakdown, show you just how it works, how to fill it up and stuff like that, and the airflow a little up close and personal. And then we'll come back and we'll just talk about it, and I'll give you my overall impressions on it and kind of what I think of it and how I find it useful, where I find it fitting in. So let's take a quick rip and do that.
Alright, so let's just do a quick dive up close and personal here on the Aspire Atlantis. It comes in this nice acrylic box, Aspire on one side, Atlantis on the other side, all the way around. Pretty simple stuff. On the back here, kind of has a little bit about it and everything that comes in here. You get one complete Atlantis tank, a replacement atomizer, and a replacement Pyrex glass tube. And they're scratch for authenticity thing and all that fun jazz. So, but let's take it out. Oh man, don't even have this one open. Hold on, never prepared. All right, open this up. You have your tank right here. So there's your tank, and then set that aside real quick. Underneath here, underneath this guy right here, you will have an extra atomizer right there, and then an extra glass tube right there, and then a little like me on Facebook kind of deal, and that's about it. Nothing else comes in there. So just know that your extra atomizer, your extra coil is down here, and then your extra glass tank is down here too, on the flip side of this guy. So we'll put that aside, and we're just gonna break this down real quick. It's really not, there's really not much to it. You got a drip tip, obviously. If you're familiar with the Nautilus or Nautilus Mini, it's kind of the same. It's basically the same deal. Let me show you the air holes real quick. This one you got, this is your widest open airflow. To me, it's a little bit too much. Go one more this way. You got your smallest airflow. One this way, a little bit bigger airflow, and the one I use is this one right here. So not as big as this one, but still big enough to get you a good vape and stuff like that. 510 pin connection, like always. Basic things. So if you're familiar with the other tanks, the Nautilus and Nautilus Mini, then basically it's the same deal. You unscrew the bottom, comes apart. Your coil is in this little area. Now this coil is massive. This is a massive coil. This sucker is huge. It's a big one. It is huge. I don't know if you can see down in there. There's your vertical coil. They say, people are saying it's 26 gauge. I haven't, we'll see when we take out the other one, but there you go. Massive coil. Your base is identical to a Nautilus. The only difference is the airflow holes are different, but everything's identical to a Nautilus. This will go back in there. Pretty simple. Put that aside. Now this glass piece actually, so right here you have where it says Aspire, then you have this Pyrex glass tube, then you have this top piece. You see those little inside ridges? That's holding the glass piece in there, so you got to kind of pull out. I'd do a little twist and turn, and that comes off to replace your glass. And then you just kind of pop it back in there, kind of push down a little and pop it back in there, and it's back on there. Now when you fill this bad boy up, you want to get as close to here as possible, as close to the top part as possible. These little ridges, juice will kind of just sit there. It doesn't really leak in too much to here, but I fill up, somewhere around here. That usually gets me a good tank full. But same concept, fill up the sides. What I would recommend doing is before you fill up, or before you put it back together, prime your coil. Take some juice and just kind of soak that coil, especially if it's a new coil. Let it soak for a little while so that all that kind gets wet and you don't got to worry about taking some primer puffs or something like that. It's just something I do. I recommend that people do that. I actually recommend people do that on a lot of their tanks. Just kind of prime it and put it together. Get it ready to go. So yeah, fill it up and basically just screw it all back on. Now I personally haven't had the issue. I know there's an issue with the mini Nautilus where this part is really hard to get off after a little bit. Even if you just hand tighten it, it's really hard to get off to refill. I haven't had that issue with my Atlantis yet, so I'm not sure if it's going to be a problem on some or not, but I know the mini Nautilus, for some reason, it really seals up and it's pretty hard to get off. But there's your little 510 drip tip right there. That's it. That's all there really is on this bad boy. There's not a whole lot to it. It's a basic tank. The biggest thing is that coil inside being 0.5. So let's back out, talk about it, and I'll just give you my opinion on how I feel it functions and kind of where I see it fitting in, I guess, in the vaping community. So we'll see you guys back out there.
All right, so you guys saw it up close and personal. You saw what it comes with, extra glass, extra coil, and all that. Now, let's talk about what I kind of think about it and how I find it useful. So when they first announced that this was coming out, they put up a graphic saying "Pro Cloud Chasers beware," something like that. I'll just put a link. Let's just cut to a screenshot real quick of it. So they put that graphic, and it's so misleading. It is so misleading. This in no way, shape, or form will take over people's drippers or people's cloud chasing atomizers. No way, shape, or form will it do that. What it does do, it gives you a great on-the-go tank to give you that same vape quality and flavor that you are known for from drippers and from rebuildable tanks such as K-Fun, Orchids, and stuff like that, but without the hassle of rebuilding. So is it good? Yeah, it's a great tank. I've been using it. We got them in the shop probably late last week, and I've been using one ever since. I'm going to tell you about my experience with it when I first started, but let's just talk about it a little bit. It's basically, to me, it's more of my on-the-go tank system, kind of, how do you put it? Kind of my lazy tank setup. Let's put it that way. If I don't want to build coils, if I don't want to mess with coils, this is what I would take. If I was going on a little road trip or something like that and I didn't want to bring a big old box of wire, clippers, screwdrivers, this, that, or the other, take this bad boy and a pack of coils and you're set, and some juice and you're set. Is it going to replace my drippers? No. No way possible is it going to replace my drippers. Is it going to replace your drippers? Maybe, depending, but you're not going to get the same amount of clouds as you can from, say, a 0.3, 0.2 build on a mech mod setup. It's not going to happen. Are the coils good in here? Yes, the coils are great in here. Do they last? That's iffy. Is it going to replace my K-Fun? Yes. Why is it replacing my K-Fun? Because, well, my K-Fun's a little outdated. I just haven't felt like rebuilding it lately. I got an orchid that we got in at the shop. We got some orchids in. I built that up, and that gives me a wonderful hit. So I have that as one tank, and this is my other tank. When the new K-Fun comes out, the K-Fun 4 or whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays, I'm going to give that one a try, and we'll see how that goes. But for right now, this is my tank setup, and my orchid is my other tank setup. Other than that, everything else is drippers. When we first got these in, I ripped open a package, put in a coil, got some juice. As a matter of fact, what I have in here right now is Shay's PHB. I got that. I put it in there. I started vaping it. I'm vaping it at 31. I've been vaping it between 30 and 35 watts on this IPV. My first coil that I put in here, because this is my second coil I put in here, the first coil I put in there read a 0.6. The second coil, this one's reading a 0.5. So I set it up, I vaped it, I went through a tank probably in a couple hours, if that. It only holds 2 mils of juice. And when you're at a 0.5, 2 mils of juice isn't going to last you very long. So once that Shay's PHB went through, I was like, well, let's see how this coil holds up to flavor change. So I put in Betty from Pinup Vapors, which is a fruitier flavor, where Shay's is more of a creamy or chata flavor. I put in Betty. And did Betty come through? Yes. But Shay's lingered in that whole tank. I didn't wash it out. I didn't rinse it. I didn't do anything. I literally just emptied it out, opened it, put Betty in there, and went. And Shay's lingered in there the whole time. Once Betty was done, I put in Sophia from Pinup Vapors. Sophia, his newest juice from Pinup Vapors. And again, Betty was lingering in there. I even still had a little bit of PHB that was lingering in there. And I started vaping it probably on Friday, right around Sunday, after countless tanks full because I was filling it up so much. And I was using, all 3 of these juices were high VG juices. I noticed that my coil was starting to taste a little funny. My coil was starting to burn out. The juice was probably just gunking up in that coil, and it was starting to burn out. So I'm actually going to do another quick close-up here of, I'm going to take apart that coil that I had in here first so we could see kind of what that coil looks like after that much juice went through it. So we'll go to that here shortly. But it held up. It held up good. Don't get me wrong. It held up decent for what it is. But to me, it's more of a one flavor per coil kind of deal. So if you're going to have multiple flavors, maybe switch your coil every time you're going to put a new flavor in. I think that's just the best way to go about it. I switched the coil because, like I said, that other coil was going bad. And now I'm using Shay's PHB in here constantly, and the flavor is great. I'll give you that. The flavor is good. But like I said, you're not going to... Vapor's good, you know. The vapor's good. It's great for the average person. It is great for most people. People that don't want to get into rebuildables, don't want to deal with that, but they want that flavor and that vapor production of a rebuildable. This is who that tank is geared for. People who have been rebuilding for years and have hundreds or whatever setups, you know, they might pick up this as a novelty, but I highly doubt it's going to put all their drippers and all their other atomizers on the shelf. I really, really highly doubt that. I use it personally with the second airflow open. the second largest one. The largest one is just too much airflow. This big old one right there is just, I don't know, it feels like too much airflow. Yeah, it feels way too airy. So I close it up a little bit, use it on that one. I've even tried the other ones, so they're just too tight. I've noticed that between 30 to 35 watts is kind of the sweet spot for me on this bad boy. So that's what I've been rocking at. Like I said, it is a great tank. It is great for people who are wanting to get a little more out of their vape, but not get into rebuildables, not having to worry about wicking and all that of a K-Fun or Orchid or any other rebuildable tank. And for those of you that do have those tanks and you're just kind of getting tired of re-wicking everything, then I would suggest picking one of these up and letting it substitute that tank. But us that are drippers, we drip. That's what we do. We enjoy building the coils. We enjoy figuring out new builds, different wicking, and getting that fuller hit. So I get a much fuller hit off of my Orchid than I do off of this. My Orchid just feels like I get, and it's built like at a 0.4, I think it is, on a DNA. I feel like I just get more of a fuller hit, more dense hit, and this one just feels more like, let's see. It just doesn't feel as dense. It doesn't feel like it kind of, it doesn't feel like it fills up my lungs or anything like that. It just feels a little bit weaker. So overall, I mean, I think it's a great tank. I think what Aspire is doing with all their products is great. Price point is not bad. We have them for 42 bucks. MSRP is 45, but no one really stuck to MSRP. Even at 45, I think it's a hell of a tank to buy. I highly, and I can't stress this enough. It's a question that gets asked on a bunch of forums that I am part of. I highly recommend using it on a regulated device. Why, you might ask? For the same reason I don't recommend people using Nautilus or Pro Tanks or anything like that on unregulated devices, simply because these coils are pre-built assembly line style, just knocking out thousands of coils an hour. You're bound to get a bad one. There's bound to be one that's not going to fire right, that's not going to work right or something. And your regulated devices will notice that and stop and not let you fire it. Your unregulated devices, you'll fire it. And if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know the signs of when there's a short, then their problems could be arise. So I definitely recommend regulated devices. I'm using an IPv2. DNA 30s will work. Anything that fires down to a 0.5 will work. Like I said, and how you know these coils are so mass produced, the fact that in the same box, one of my coils read a 0.6 or one read a 0.5. So they're going to vary a little bit just because of how they're produced. All in all, I got to say, if you're looking for a tank setup on the go, get yourself one of this one. Make sure you keep yourself juice on handy because it eats up juice. People are saying like, oh, well, I feel like I'm going through more juice with this than I do with my drippers. You're probably not. The only difference is this, you kind of see how much you're going through, whereas your drippers, you're just constantly dripping, so you really don't know how much you go through. But 2 mils roughly on a 5.5 coil isn't going to last very long, so definitely take some juice with you. Overall, though, I like what Aspire is doing. We're actually changing a lot of our tanks in the shop to Aspire, so I like what they're doing. So with that being said, pick it up. If you're looking for that tank to give you that same kind of a vape hit of vape quality that dripper or rebuildable will give you, pick it up. If you're looking for a tank to replace all your drippers and all that stuff, you might not be as satisfied with it. Is it a great tank? Yes. Is it the tank that kills the whole dripping game and everything? No. I don't think any tank out there will overtake the dripping lifestyle per se. So with that being said, we have them at $42 at the Vapor Shop in Shawano and Clintonville, Wisconsin. So come in and see them, pick them up. They are going super fast, so make sure you get in soon. We're going to cut to an up close of the other coil. I'm going to try to take it apart on camera. If I can't, then I'll just take it apart and then show it to you on camera. I just want to see what the thickness, that thick of juice did to this bad boy, and see how it held up. But overall, it was a good tank, man. Good tank, good flavor, good vapor. So can't be mad at it. We're gonna switch to that little close up here, and we're gonna be there. We're gonna be done after that. So I'll end the video after that close up. Again, make sure you subscribe. You're not gonna want to miss this giveaway. There's gonna be a lot of stuff, and one lucky person is gonna have one very good vape must. Till next time, guys.
Alright, so as promised, I'm going to see if I can take this little guy apart to kind of see what it looks like. Oh, that's too much focus. Let's focus. I'm going to try this on camera to see what it looks like. I haven't taken one apart yet, so it's going to be a trial and error kind of deal. If I can't do it on camera for some odd reason, I don't see why not, but if I can't do it, then I'll just do it and show you the coil. So this guy should pop out with ease. Yeah, that works. And then there's your little insulator. And if you guys don't know anything about these coils or how they kind of work, basically your leads from your coil, you're going to have one inside the insulator, then you're going to have one right here outside the insulator. I don't know if you could see that or not. Let's get it closer. There you go. So there's that. And then we should be able just to kind of push this coil downward and maybe, just maybe, get it to come out. Let's see if we take out the insulator. Let's see if we pull from here. Oh, yep, there's the insulator. So there's your coil. You can see it right in there. Let's get close here. There's your coil. Now let's try, I'm going to try taking this out without damaging it too much. But I don't know if that's going to work. Let's see here. Let's see if I just push down. Come on. Is it moving? I'm probably just gonna end up pulling on those leads, but oh, there goes the screen. Alright, it's coming, but there it is right there. I'm just gonna see if I could just kind of tug on it with the leads. Actually, let's see if we could grab it and pull it out. Nope, that's gonna ruin it. Let's try this. Oh, it's coming. It's not gonna be pretty though, but it's coming out. Yeah, definitely not gonna be a pretty one, but oh. Yeah, I think there's no way of getting this out without messing it up, so we'll still be able to see what it looks like. Alright, there's that. Here's your coil. You see there's all this. Now most of this was done by me right now. Let me see if I could get a little closer. Zoom in one. Nope. There we go. Most of this was done by me right now, tearing it up, but you see your coil, you got all this extra filter, but this is kind of what I wanted to see. So you see here all that filler material, which is like some kind of cotton. It's kind of, I don't know, I could see where these aren't gonna last. I mean, I've heard some people get 3 weeks out of them already, but mine started tasting nasty, and you can tell. So basically, this was like this. Looks a little messed up now, but the coil was like that, right? So as you can tell, if you ever noticed on your coils on a dripper or something like that, all these kind of turn the same. Oh yeah, it's like magnetic. It's kind of weird. The coils on your like drippers and stuff like that, all of them change black at the same time. They all basically go the same color. This one you can tell the middle got hotter than the outside, which is where I think I was getting the burnt taste from it. So now looking at it, it almost looks like 24 gauge. I got some 26 gauge here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with its 24 gauge actually. I'm gonna go with like it's 24 gauge and not 26 gauge as I said previously. But you can see where I got the coil burnt right there, where it's more charred than it is up here and down here. That filler material was around everything. But obviously these coils should burn from the inside out, but they should evenly. So this is where it's kind of not sure how the coils are being really made and stuff like that. But I just wanted to tear this one down and show you guys kind of what it looks like inside, stuff like that. And I've heard people rebuilding these and stuff, but honestly, if you're gonna, there's no point. The whole point of this tank is to not have to rebuild. So I don't know why you would rebuild it, but there you guys go. A little look at the Atlantis. Look at the coil after a couple days, 3 days of using high VG juice, nothing but that tank all day, every day for those 3 days. And there's your coil. It started giving me a burnt taste, so I changed it. Like I said, the tank is great, but it serves its purpose and it also doesn't fit in where it needs to, where it doesn't need to be. Overall, great tank. Check it out. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Price point is good. And I guess you can rebuild it if you want to, but if you're going to be rebuilding tanks, you might as well just stay and rebuild pro tanks and stuff. But there's no point on getting this tank to rebuild the coil. That's just my opinion, though. So with that, we will let you guys go, and we will see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe for that big giveaway coming up. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.